Downtown, I got that heat, let's go. Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
All right, let's see if we can get a sound check real quick. Make sure you guys can hear me okay on your side, on the YouTube side. Micah, do me a solid. Make sure that I'm clear. No feedback, no buzzing, no crackling. Okay, I think we're okay. All right, let me bring my video in, make sure that's working. Yes, video, yes. Okay, all right. Here we go. Let's do this. Okay. All right. No buzzing, no crackling, no no LeBroning. Man, you had to throw that in, Micah. You had to do that. Oh, man. And it's good to have everybody here for the live edition of the show. I see a few viewers in here. Do me a solid. Please like and share the videos. If you got social media, friends and family that like hoops discussions and analysis of games and commentary and insights, that's what we do here. And once the NBA season is done and we've got a champion, which we're not too far away from a champion being crowned, we're going to discuss NFL stuff. And nothing against baseball. I like baseball. I'm just not into baseball as much as hoops and football. And I guess maybe if we get into playoff baseball, I'll probably be more engaged. But until that day, probably not a bridge we're going to be crossing anytime soon. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Let me respond to some of the chatter from Micah. He said, thought the Pacers were going to go up 3-1. They had a chance to get the win last night. That was close. They were right there. They squandered the opportunity. They had a double-digit lead in the fourth. And I actually want to talk about that. I like to give credit to the team that wins the game, right? I always give them the most credit because they played and won. But you can't not discuss the opportunity that the Pacers squandered in Game 4, being up double digits in the final frame of Game 4. It's the same scenario we saw in Game 1. Just the tables turned, right? And the outcomes backwards. So I'll discuss that. I did like a whole set of notes on this game. It was literally just like possession by possession, stretch by stretch, quarter by quarter. Just doing like a full review and overview. And I read back through my notes, and these things are very vivid in my mind. So I wanted to take everything I saw in the game and put it onto the stream. I'll probably end up making some clips so that others can watch, because I know not everybody likes long-form content. Not everybody watches live streams. So I'll make some shorter videos kind of highlighting some of these key things. So let's start first with things that really stick out in my mind that I remembered from yesterday's game. So the first thing I want to discuss is the fourth quarter. Let's call it SGA's quarter. He took over. And it was very, very clear that he was going to be ultra assertive. And he knew he had to do it in order for the Thunder to win the game, because up until that point, they had been going through stretches of droughts where the offense wasn't there, and then defensively, the Thunder were giving up some buckets. I would say that the OKC defense in the fourth quarter was very stout and very firm, and they held their ground against the Pacers. And the Pacers, for their part, settled for a lot of long-range shots that didn't necessarily fall. The Pacers did hit the offensive glass and got second chances, but still didn't capitalize. That's some of the stuff that I saw in the fourth quarter. So because they were missing the shots and then getting the second chance opportunities but still not capitalizing, I put the onus on Indiana for that part. But I still have to give credit to the OKC Thunder for playing the hellacious defense. They held the Pacers to 17 points in the fourth quarter, which is pretty impressive. The Pacers' offense is really good. It's an offense that moves the ball very well. Like, the ball doesn't really stick. If the shot isn't there, if the opportunity isn't there right away, the ball leaves. And then they look for that opportunity elsewhere on the floor. Maybe there's a pocket, there's a move, a screen off the ball. Maybe there's a mismatch to find. And I think that's part of the coaching and the philosophy of the Pacers. But Indy blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. That's what this boils down to. They squandered their opportunity to go up 3-1. If they go up 3-1, they then have 3 opportunities to put the Thunder away. They don't get it. So they, in my opinion, squandered their opportunity to get that 3-1 lead, namely in the fourth quarter. I think we could kind of stick to that as kind of what we saw. And that was their chance. That was definitely their opportunity. The Pacers outscored the Thunder by 1 point in the first quarter, 2 points in the second quarter, and then 4 points in the third quarter. So they had a lead going into the fourth. I think it was a 10-point lead going into the fourth. And I think maybe their largest lead was the 10-point lead to start the fourth. I don't think it got past that, but that's not enough to put away a team in the NBA Finals. Not the 2 best teams in the NBA. Not at all. And then I think there was a time where the Pacers had maybe 4, 5, possibly 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter. It was somewhere in that range. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it was definitely 4 or more. And I think the Thunder didn't have any until like deep into the fourth, where they finally had a turnover, because the Thunder knew that if they didn't play a perfect quarter, it was going to be really hard to beat the Pacers in Indiana, down by 10. So they basically had to play a perfect quarter. I think what also needs to be mentioned is the fact that the Pacers' defense was actually really good for most of the game. Right? It was good in the first quarter, but the frenetic pace and the shots that they were making in the first quarter, both of these teams, it was like crazy. It was almost unsustainable. The Thunder scored 23 in quarters 2 and 3, and the Pacers scored 25 and 27 in quarters 2 and 3. That, I think, was more realistic. It was a regression. The first quarter, they just seemed like both teams were just on fire. In fact, to speak, I think, more specifically to the first quarter, OKC had some disorganization, in my opinion. They seemed a little bit out of sync defensively, having to help on the ball, and then kind of like late rotations or incomplete rotations in the first quarter. I noticed some of that. I did kind of see some kind of like pseudo zone stuff going on in the paint for the Thunder, and Indy actually made them pay for that. They ended up getting some 3-point looks that were pretty open, and they capitalized. And that's why I think you saw the points that you saw in the first quarter, why the point total was actually pretty high. So early lead for Indy. And then OKC's offense seemed a little bit out of sync. I did see a lot of J-Dub initiating and running the offense early. I think some of that was preservation of SGA, trying to conserve his energy for later in the game when they know they have to have him. And he spoke to kind of being tired in the previous interviews and stuff like that. So I do think some of that was in play. Chet kind of turned his ankle a little bit early in the game. You kind of saw his left foot kind of flimsy flop over. And I think that led to a second time it happened, maybe third time. He definitely didn't look very stable on that ankle. But for his credit, dude's tough as nails. He hung in there and he played. And he was able to be a difference maker. He wasn't dropping 30 or anything like that, but he had a couple of buckets. His presence defensively, like, he had some blocks that were phenomenal. He was very good. I think for his standards, if he's giving you 15, 20 points and then having that impact defensively, the rebounds and those things, I think he's giving you what you need. Aaron Nesmith was very aggressive defensively in the first quarter. He picked up some early fouls. They had to get him out of there, and they made some substitutions. I think Shepard was the sub that came in for him. The score was 20-12, 7 minutes left in the quarter when OKC called their first timeout. Daigneault had seen enough. He needed to make an adjustment, gather up the troops, figure out what was going on there, and make those adjustments. Indy started the game 9 of 12 from the field. Indy started the game with 8 assists on those 9 field goals. The Pacers offense was humming to start the game. And the Thunder defense was on its heels. As good as they are, they definitely looked like they were reacting as opposed to being a proactive defensive team that's taking things away from the Pacers. The Pacers were getting what they wanted. I think the Pacers had their first turnover 7 minutes into the quarter, right? 1 turnover. So they were playing very clean, very good basketball, which was pretty impressive considering how good OKC's defense is. Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, and those guys. J-Dub was very assertive offensively in the first quarter. He scored on several possessions, creating offense for the team. Once we saw them kind of settle in, and after that timeout, OKC started to play, I think, a little bit more in sync defensively. The rotations were a little bit tighter. There were several turnovers for OKC early. J-Dub, I saw a couple of turnovers that were pretty bad, pretty egregious, definitely unforced. He did have 4 turnovers on the game. A couple of them were forced and a couple of them not forced. Probably got to clean that up a little bit, especially if he's going to have all that ball handling duty to kind of give SGA a spell. Let's see here. Lou Dort's defense was very good. He was chasing Halliburton from the get, right from the beginning. He also hit some threes. I think he was 4 or 5 from 3, something along those lines. No, that was the last game. I think he was 2 of 2 from 3, maybe. I'm trying to think. He had a couple. He didn't take a lot of shots, but his defensive presence was felt. He was giving Halliburton the business. Caruso had some huge moments in the first quarter. Rips, buckets, turning into fast break points. Lots of points in the first quarter between these two teams. I think the score is 35-34 at the end of the first. The pace was frenetic. All right. By the time we get to Q2, right, the second quarter, I'm convinced that SGA is preserving himself. He knows that this game is going to go down to the wire, and he is saving himself as much as he possibly can. I know Daigneault was probably looking at those minutes. I know the team was looking at, how often he was going to be handling the ball and creating offense. OKC's defense was still having some trouble in the second quarter. It always seemed like they were a half step late on the rotations. TJ McConnell came in the game into the second quarter, did have an impact. He didn't have the huge scoring output, but he had some points, and you know what he does for that team. Even defensively, he plays really hard. Chet seemed like he was struggling with the handle. Physically, he's very tall, so the ball's very high. That ball seemed like it came out quite a bit. Siakam blocked SGA in the second quarter, something fierce. Chet destroyed Nesmith on a layup attempt. That was a pretty sweet block. There were some hard fouls on breakaways in the second quarter. Things got a little chippy. I think Alex Caruso was on the receiving end of an Obi Toppin body check right before he left the ground. It triggered a review for a flagrant. I think they ended up assessing a flagrant to Toppin. That was 2 points and the ball for OKC. That was pretty big. To me, it's just old school basketball, guys. I don't really think it was dirty. To me, it's old school basketball, but the way that they officiate these games now in the modern NBA, those things qualify as flagrants. So I'm not surprised that they called it a flagrant, although I'm disappointed. I don't think it deserved it. I think it was just a hard securing the foul type of contact, where you have to make sure he doesn't score. I know Micah understands. Micah's been watching hoops a long time. It didn't look egregious. He still looked like he made an attempt at the ball. Like he fulfilled the check boxes of trying to make it look like he was going for the ball. But That's how the NBA is now, and that's how they call it. A lot of fouls were called in the second quarter. Indy's defense was a little too physical for the refs' liking, and they did call fouls on the Pacers. And it had an impact because it put the Thunder into the bonus early. And the Thunder shot really well from the free throw line. 34 of 38 for a 90% clip. That was a difference maker in the game. Indy's offense was actually negatively impacted by a lot of those defensive fouls. And the defensive lapses that they had in the second quarter, it actually impacts their offense because their defense turns into offense, right? It's the transition, it's the fast breaks, that type of deal. Indy ended up going on a pretty nice run in the middle of the second quarter. The passing through the OKC defense seemed to work pretty well. Again, the Thunder have hellacious defenders in Lou Dort and Alex Caruso, but if you can pass through the defense, you can get some opportunities. The rim rolls and some of that was there in the second quarter. J-Dub's bad ball handles continued through the second quarter. We saw him with some turnovers. Indy finished really strong. They took the lead and secured the lead 60-57. I think OKC actually took the lead in a part of the second, and then Indy took it back. So the Thunder were shooting poorly. I think they were 1 of 11 from 3 at halftime or something like that. So the Pacers were doing their part defensively. And then the second half starts, and J-Dub was attacking early, kind of like how they started the first half. Chet was looking to assert himself offensively as well. The game was close, and the Thunder were shooting poorly. The Thunder were better on the glass. The Thunder were, they were managing their turnovers. They weren't perfect, but a lot less than they had in previous games up to that point. So that's really what was keeping them in this game. I know Hartenstein was pretty good defensively in the third quarter. He had some good moments. Up to that point, SGA was not very efficient. SGA was not his normal dominant self. I think that was a testament to Nembhard and his defense on SGA. Indy actually started moving the ball a little bit. They were forcing the defense for OKC to move quite a bit. That led to some opportunities. Indy started to have some turnovers later in the third. OKC was able to cut into the lead. I think there was a possession where Alex Caruso had like an offensive rebound putback, like easy points, right? OKC didn't have a lot of assists in this game. It was mostly off of like rebounds and putbacks and things like that. I think the Pacers extended the lead to 9, and then Caruso hit a 3. And then there was a point where it was like about 3 minutes left in the third, and Hallie took a seat. I think they benched him. They wanted him fresh for the fourth. Up to that point, Halliburton only had 10 points, and that's credit to Lou Dort and Alex Caruso, who sometimes was defending him as well. J-Dub had an over and back, some kind of like a turnover. Indy was pressuring the whole way, the whole game. The refs did call a lot of fouls, and I think that was to the advantage of OKC. Got into the bonus early. I think the Pacers led by 7 going into the fourth quarter. And then the fourth quarter started, and you saw a lot of Caruso involvement. The Pacers were getting second chance opportunities on the offensive glass. The Pacers' primary shots weren't great looks. They took a lot of threes, and they weren't falling. I didn't see much Miles Turner. I think Carlisle was going with Obi Toppin for whatever reason. He saw something better there. Chet was good on the offensive glass. He got some putback for points. Pacers were trying to speed up SGA, and this is something I wanted to make sure I spoke about. I think part of what makes SGA such a good player, he doesn't let the defense speed him up. He plays at his pace. Even when the defense crowds him, even when the defense is reaching and, they're trying to get their hands on the ball and they're trying to make him uncomfortable and occupy the space between, the defenders and the screeners and stuff like that. I want to give credit to the Pacers for trying to make SGA uncomfortable, and it worked for a lot of the game. But I want to credit SGA for staying true to himself, sticking to his pace, and getting to his spots, being patient, taking what the defense gives him. And eventually, SGA was the one who broke the Pacers' defense. See, it wasn't the other way around. The Pacers were trying to break SGA. That didn't happen. He stuck with it. He stayed with the program. He stayed true to himself. And then eventually he broke out like in the fourth quarter, and I'm going to speak to that in a second. The Pacers, from what I could see, were looking for something from someone that they could not get that they were getting in previous games. So in previous games, it was Benedict Mathurin. In other games, it was TJ McConnell. Like I'm speaking to the last game specifically. Obi Toppin, right? Like they didn't get those huge breakout games from anybody, that was substantial enough to really set things apart in the fourth quarter. It was actually the Thunder who got the big performance from Caruso, obviously the defense from Lu Dort, SGA playing huge in the fourth, J-Dub having his moments where he was, scoring, giving that supplemental offense so that SGA doesn't have to do all the work. And I just noticed that with a few minutes left in the game, you could clearly see the Pacers were having trouble scoring while SGA was starting to cook. And the table was starting to turn. It was like the Pacers had been in control all game, and now the Thunder were starting to kind of execute at the end of the game. Like game 1 for the Pacers was game 4 for the Thunder. That was kind of the parity in my opinion. Dort got a huge steal on Tyrese Halliburton late in the fourth quarter. He goes out into the fast break. He gets fouled. I'm not sure if they ended up calling a flagrant on that one or not, but he got free throws. There was an active effort to get Nembhard off of SGA, get a switch for Nesmith, because Nesmith is a slightly more reckless defender. I want to make sure I explain this and articulate this. Aaron Nesmith is a good defender. He's very strong, low center of gravity. He's not going to be outworked. He's not going to be pushed around. But he is a slightly more aggressive defender when it comes to like physically jumping into players, right? His fundamentals are good, but his instinct is to try to block the shot and go for steals, as opposed to maintaining his positioning and his foundational defense like Nembhard does. So OKC knew that, and they fought to get that switch. They got it. And instead of fighting through it or forcing it, they settled. Nesmith gets up in the air, draws the foul, gets the foul called on him, and SGA's taking free throws. And that happened a lot in this quarter. And I was talking to the Goon earlier in the group text. He showed me 4 plays in the game where the refs quote unquote made bad calls or didn't make calls. I watched all 4 of those plays. The only one that the refs got 100% wrong was the blocking call on Nesmith. That was a foul on J-Dub. That was a charge. Nesmith's feet were set. There was contact. He fell. It should have been a charge. That may have changed the game. You never know. So they blew that one. The other 3 plays where SGA was drawing contact, he was getting fouled. He did get fouled. Are they kind of tic-tacky? Maybe. But it's not off-brand for the refs to call fouls for Shea. That's been happening all year. Nobody's better at drawing fouls than him, which emphasizes the communication of Rick Carlisle and the staff at Indiana. They must implore the defenders of the Pacers, do not jump, do not get baited, keep him out of the paint, make the shots difficult and challenged, and we'll just live with it. And then to the last play where SGA Drew Nesmith caused him to go off balance, and then he kind of slipped and slid away and then hit that baseline fadeaway. First of all, credit to the shot. Second of all, the slip and to maintain the balance, collect himself and shoot is incredible. His body control is crazy. But I want to make sure we understand this. Aaron Nesmith was off balance. Even if there was a slight shove or some contact or a slight extension of the arm from SGA, the refs are not going to call that. When have they ever made a call like that against an offensive player in the NBA Finals. You don't see that. It would be illogical and unreasonable to expect them to blow the whistle against the offensive player while the defensive player was off balance to begin with. They're not going to call it. Which is why it's so imperative that the defender on SGA must be playing good foundational defense, moving his feet, staying very close to SGA, but not fouling. It's the hardest thing to do. It's almost an impossible task. But when they gave up the switch with Nembhard and Nesmith, those were the types of things that the Thunder were looking for. And they executed to their credit. And SGA hit the shot. What you want me to tell you? What are you going to do? Bellyache and complain to the refs? The Pacers scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. The Thunder scored 31. Why did the Pacers lose? Because Nesmith was off balance? Nope. Why did the Pacers lose? Because of the blown charge block call? Nope. The Pacers lost because they could only score 17 points in the fourth quarter, and they gave up 31 to the Thunder. And the Pacers had several turnovers in the fourth. And they were taking shots and missing them, getting second chance opportunities, and still not scoring. That's why the Pacers lost. The Pacers did not lose because of calls or non-calls against SGA. Absolutely not. No way. If you are looking for bailout calls in the playoffs or in the NBA Finals, you are playing with fire. You are taking chances, leaving things to chance. You can't do that. Look, you guys may not know this about me. I watch a lot of UFC. The UFC is a mixed martial arts promotion where you have some horrible judging. I'm sure you guys have seen some boxing matches where the judging was just atrocious. You look at the scoring card and you're like, what the hell? In the UFC, when you watch a championship fight, 5 rounds, you need to win that fight in a way that is so dominant that you leave the judges with no options but to award you the rounds and the win. And quite often, if you're going to beat the champion, you are the challenger, and you're going to beat the champion, you have to knock them out. You have to finish them. A submission, a knockout, something so substantial that it's not up to the judges. The ref has to stop the fight and say, no more, it's over. That's how these types of games need to be approached. Not bailouts, not luck, not good fortune. Execution. I saw the Thunder execute in the fourth, especially late, the last 3-4 minutes. I saw the Pacers squander the game like the Thunder did in game 1. I see the parity in these games. Micah chimes in. The postseason is an indicator to the front office on who you should keep and who you should let go. Because the biggest moments are the telling. I mean, this is what your end game is, right? I don't want this to turn into a situation where I'm just blaming Indy. I have to give all the credit in the world to SGA and the Thunder for pulling out this really, really tough win. Because we got to talk about this from a realistic perspective. The series was 2-1. The Pacers won Game 3 at home. They stole a game in Game 1 from the Thunder. The Thunder have been on their heels. And this series isn't over. In fact, the momentum, I don't think, is with anyone. I don't think either team has more substantial momentum than the other. The Thunder won a game in Indy. The Pacers won a game in OKC. Right? We haven't accomplished anything. What have we accomplished in the series? It's a tied series going back to OKC. We're where we started. We're exactly where we started. Game 1, Indy pulled out the win. Game 2, the Thunder bounced back. Indy wins game 2. OKC wins. Indy wins game 3. OKC wins game 4. This is a best of 3 series now. First team to win 2. I think it's going to take 7 to figure out who's the better team, in my opinion. It's going to be game 7 in OKC. I don't know who's going to win game 5. My initial instinct tells me to lean OKC. But then I think if OKC wins game 5, I think Indy wins game 6. So we have game 7. If Indy wins game 5, it gets really interesting game 6 in Indy. Like, whoa. Like, that would be crazy. I don't think the Pacers want to go to a game 7. I think the Pacers are thinking, we need to get an upset in game 5, and let's close them out in game 6. The Thunder, they have more wiggle room. Right? They could win game 5, lose game 6, and they'd probably feel pretty good about their chances in game 7. But you can't leave it to chance. The winner of game 5 is one of the most telling statistics in NBA Finals, I guess, historical context. Winner of game 5 in a tied series wins the series 98% of the time or 99% of the time, whatever it is. It's super high. You think about the Cavs in 2016 coming down 3-1, and them doing the impossible. But tied series, game 5, it's like a super high percentage. See, before, when the series is tied 1-1 and the winner wins game 3, it's like 80-20 or whatever. That's not as substantial as 90+%, right? Micah says this is an instance where the Pacers really blew it. The Pacers are making it seem like they're equal with OKC. They should have taken that home. That's an interesting perspective, Micah. I do think there's an element where they blew it. But the team that's on the other side is forcing those errors. Like, they force the tough shots. They force the Pacers to have to settle. They force the Pacers to make bad decisions and turn the ball over. That's OKC's pressure defense. So we got to give them the credit for causing those types of problems. OKC stayed in it and got the win. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think that's the right assessment to the game. And yeah, a series at 2-2 is very different. Everybody after game 3 was like, oh man, the Pacers are going to win this. How would you know? You're falling victim to recency. If the Thunder were going to win game 4, then it changed the complexity of the game. The complexion of the series. Yeah, so we got this thing going back to OKC. I think the game 5, I think, is Monday night, if I remember correctly. Monday at 8:30. Man, I wish the game started at 8. Hell, even 7:30, that would be huge. By the way, OKC is favored in this game. I think Indiana's a plus 340. So if you're a betting person, the payout for Indy is really nice. $100 turns into $340. Sounds like, if you're a betting person, that's where I would go with my dollars. I'm not a betting person, so not really my cup of tea. OKC, I think they're minus 9.5. All right, so they're definitely the favorite for sure. Interesting. They really got OKC favored in this game. Oh, they got a whole thing on ESPN Bet. Wow. But let's keep it a buck, right? Just looking back at game 4, let's keep it a buck. Micah, you're in the live chat. You can kind of answer some of these questions, right? You can answer some of these. I'm going to name off some players and discuss their performance, and you tell me if that was good enough, right? I'm going to talk Indiana Pacers. Pascal Siakam, 20 points. 6 of 15 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3. Is that good enough for Pascal Siakam's standards? Defensively, he was phenomenal. 5 steals and a block. He had 8 rebounds. He was excellent. Those are effort plays, right? Nobody's going to question his motor. But is 20 points enough from Pascal Siakam at this point, at this stage of the NBA Finals? Me, personally, I think you need to get more out of Pascal Siakam. I think the offense needs to run through him much more. There needs to be a better effort to get him the ball. He needs to take 20 shots a game. It's the same thing I said about J-Dub. It's the same thing I said about, SGA and Chet. I think each of those guys should shoot 20 times a game. All right, so there's Siakam. Aaron Nesmith, foul trouble. Fouled out again. You got to play fundamentally quality defense where you're not reaching, where you're not drawing fouls, putting your team in a precarious position where they're getting the other team in the bonus and you're giving up free throws. And the Thunder are like the best free throw shooting team, apparently. 90% from the free throw stripe. I don't think Nesmith played well enough. 30 minutes of action, fouled out. The rebounds are lovely. 9 rebounds, 4 of them offensive. This is great, right? That's his, and he got a steal and he plays hard defense. I just need him to play more careful on the defensive side of the ball. You don't want to put your team in a tough position. Miles Turner, 3 of 10 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3. 2 rebounds. 2 rebounds for Miles Turner. He was basically benched for Obi Toppin. Basically. Not good enough. Miles Turner was killing the Knicks. Killing the Cavs. Killing the Bucks. But he ain't killing the Thunder. No. Not as impactful against the Thunder. Andrew Nembhard, 10 points. Played 36 minutes. I mean, a decent game. Mr. Tyrese Halliburton. Love the critics. They help motivate me to win and beat grade and blah, blah, blah. Yo, you had 10 points in the first 3 quarters. That's not good enough. 1 for 7 from 3. 7 of 15 overall. 5 turnovers. By the way, Andrew Nembhard had 4 turnovers. That ain't going to get it done. Mr. Tyrese Halliburton, 5 turnovers. That will not get it done. I get it. He had 7 assists, and he's an assist guy, right? Typically, he has like 10, 12, 14 assists in a lot of the bigger games. I don't think Halliburton was that great. I got smoke for Halliburton. I got smoke for Miles Turner. Maybe Miles Turner is injured. I'm hearing some rumblings of him possibly being injured. I think Obi Toppin was fantastic. He's the reason Miles Turner got benched. Kind of gave my take on, Nesmith. McConnell was good, but he wasn't as impactful as he was in Game 3. Benny Mathurin. He missed 3 foul shots in the fourth quarter. Bad. So, you tell me, Micah, who inspired you from the Pacers last night? Outside of Obi Toppin, who inspired you? Because I mean, maybe Pascal Siakam. I think he played inspired basketball for most of the game, on most aspects of the game. But that's it. That's not enough to beat the Thunder. It's not. No way. For the Thunder, they got huge games, huge contributions from Shea, obviously, especially in the fourth. J-Dub was excellent, 27 points. Not good from 3, but he was able to score and give the team some offense. Be careful with J-Dub. 4 turnovers. That's got to get cleaned up. Alex Caruso, we got to have this conversation. I know it's uncomfortable, but like, if SGA doesn't have these big quarters and some of these big moments, like, we could be talking about Alex Caruso as the MVP of the series. Yo, which isn't unprecedented. Think about it, right? You guys remember the 2015 finals where Andre Iguodala got the NBA Finals MVP. I think it was 2015. I think so. Because I think in 17 it was KD and 18 it was KD. Lou Dort was phenomenal defensively. Didn't really get much going on offensively. Didn't really have much of a role in the game. But golly, man. Alex Caruso. We have to have this conversation. If SGA does not have big games the rest of the way, and he only has the big game 4, and Alex Caruso continues to have 5 steals a game, blocks, 17, 20 points a game, Alex Caruso could potentially be the NBA Finals MVP. Which nobody wants that to happen, right? Like, let's be honest. The league MVP is SGA. You want to see, ideally, him get the NBA Finals MVP, become the NBA champion, right? That's the timeline that's preferred for your stars, right? But Alex Caruso is 7-9 from the field, makes 5 of his 7 free throws, comes up with 2 offensive rebounds, has 5 steals. There's moments where he's playing point guard. There's moments where he's setting screens. There's moments where he's getting offensive rebounds and putbacks. There's moments where he's getting rips, creating points. He's getting to the free throw line. Alex Caruso has been the most impactful player in the series from start to finish of each game. It's been him. Last night in the fourth quarter, SGA was clearly the most impactful player. But I can't look past the 4 quarters of the 4 games. So for 16 quarters, Alex Caruso has been the most impactful player offensively and defensively. The reason why I say offensively is because offensively he's giving you more than he really should. He's giving you above the expectation. What's the expectation for Alex Caruso? 8 points? And those are likely game flow points, right? Maybe a back screen, maybe an offensive putback, maybe a 3 here and there. It's an occasional play where he gets a look. But he's getting 17, 20 points in some of these games, especially the games where they're winning. So he's overachieving offensively. Defensively, you know the hellacious pressure that he provides and the value he brings to the table in defending the other team's best players. You know, times where he's on Halliburton, times where he's on Siakam. Yo, do we need to talk about like how Alex Caruso locked up Joker and now he's given problems and all the smoke to Pascal Siakam, who is several inches taller, obviously much stronger and bigger, but finding a way to be disruptive, right? That's where I think we're at with this finals so far. Like if the finals ended last night, SGA probably wins the MVP because of that huge game to close, like if it was closing the series, like if that was a game 7. But like 16 quarters of basketball, 4 games. Alex Caruso is him. It's crazy, but it's true. And SGA was very good defensively yesterday. Man, I was on Rated R Sports Debates last night. You guys know Mookie Jones, maybe. Like what? There are people in the live chat talking about SGA's overrated and he's a foul baiter and he's not good defensively. What the hell? Dude, SGA was getting rips. SGA blocked a Halliburton 3. What the hell? What do you want from this guy? What do you want from this guy? The defense knows he's going to try to score. They know it. They see it coming and they can't stop it. He's the triple threat. He can dish. He can score. He can get into the paint and operate. He's got a fadeaway. He's got a fall away. He's got baseline. He's got elbow. He's got 3. He makes guys miss. He's got the handles. Like defensively, he's blocking shots. He's getting steals. What the hell else do you need him to do? He had 3 huge steals. He had a huge block. You got people talking about this guy ain't it. What games are we watching? What the hell? He played 40 minutes last night against the Indiana Pacers. Does anybody realize what it takes to play against the Indiana Pacers? Ask the Cavs. Ask the Knicks. Ask Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. What's it like playing the Indiana Pacers for 48 minutes? Ask the Bucks. Ask Giannis. Ask Donovan Mitchell. Ask the stars that the Pacers tamed for the last 3 months. From March to June. Because they've been kicking ass for a while. Ask them what those minutes are like. They're not the same. 37, 38, 40 minutes against the Pacers is like playing 2 games on the same night back to back. Because what the Pacers do is they rotate guys. They bring in guys fresh. Those guys play hard when they get in, right? It's pressure 90 feet. It's all up in there. It's all in the mix, right? Contact, chest bumps, reaching for the ball, looking to cause turnovers, making trouble and problems. What up, Razor? Good to have you. Micah says, I don't think SGA is like Kobe. There's some aspects, but I don't think he's Kobe. I think everybody's always looking to make comparisons. I don't like that personally. Like when people were talking about Anthony Edwards being like MJ. Not at all. Not at all. Why? What's similar about MJ and Anthony Edwards? They both play shooting guard. They're the best, the team's best offensive player. They're one of the team's best defensive players. What? I see Anthony Edwards settling for a lot of threes. I didn't see MJ doing that. I see people having, impossible fits trying to deal with Jordan. I don't see that with Anthony Edwards. I've seen him get iced out of games. I don't think his decision-making is even close to what MJ was. I mean, athleticism, sure. He's a very good athlete. You could say he kind of moves like MJ, I guess. But why are we in such a hurry to try to crown guys the next MJ, or he's like MJ, or he's like Kobe? SGA like Kobe? I guess in some aspects, but Kobe played in one of the fiercest, most competitive leagues. Like you look at that era when Kobe played. Like the Boston Celtics defense in his repeat and the 3 trips to the finals, those seasons, Kobe was a menace. One of the most skilled players I had ever seen play the game. That version of Kobe Bean Bryant. Defensively and offensively. So cerebral, right? So mentally strong. One of the most unique things I've ever seen from an NBA player. That version of Kobe. After Shaq, after the doldrums, right, where the Lakers were just a train wreck. And you saw like the emergence of Pau Gasol, right? All-star caliber Pau Gasol. Defensively, offensively. Kobe trusting in his teammates a little bit. That version of Kobe, I mean, that was a several years body of work. I'm not ready to say SGA is that. I got to see SGA do that. Multiple finals runs, multiple championships, a league MVP. Like, it's the whole thing. Everybody's in a rush to say next Kobe, next MJ. Not at all. SGA is kind of SGA, right? To me, he's unique. The ball handling is very unique. The ability to get to the elbow spots, the pull-ups, very unique. I mean, Kobe did that too. Maybe that's what people are seeing. They're seeing like the shot selection or, how he's making and taking his shots. Maybe. I don't know. Kobe Bryant's a better athlete than SGA. And Kobe's not even the best athlete of all time. Like MJ was a greater athlete than Kobe. But Kobe was a very good athlete. People forget, like number 8 Kobe was a demon. Like the reverse dunks and all that was crazy. And his athleticism contributed to his defensive prowess. You know what I mean? I don't think SGA is nearly the defender Kobe is or Kobe was. I don't see it that much. There's some elements, but I'm not making that comparison. Not even close. Not yet. Micah says SGA is closer to Kobe than Ant is to MJ, though. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Micah said people in media want to say one player is Kobe-esque, but continues to diss Kobe any chance they get. I know where you're going with that, Micah. Man, I know what you mean. The narrative control, the news media spinning. I got you, man. I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm very clear about the direction you're going with that. All right, got to do our predictions. Game 5, NBA Finals in OKC. If I have to, if I have to make a call and a prediction, I think with my mind and with my heart, those are two different things, right? Like my heart's like playing into the emotions, right? And then my mind is like logic and reasoning. So who do I want to win? I want to see SGA finish the trifecta. So I'm kind of sort of biased. I want to see SGA win the league MVP, get the NBA Finals MVP, and then get the championship. I want him to complete the Triple Crown. But there's a part of me, this is my heart speaking, right? My emotions, that wants the Indiana Pacers to win because of the story. SGA is the big story over there, though. Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, those guys, all year long, putting in the work, fine-tuning their team, from the bench to the starters to the whole thing. But the story of the Pacers, unassuming, nobody's got them on the radar. They just finished the season strong, and then they wreak havoc in the playoffs, right? So there's that emotional heart type approach. It wants the Pacers to win. And then there's the selfish part of me that just wants to see 7 games because I don't want the season to end. And I don't want the finals to end because this is some of the best basketball I've seen in a long time. I've seen some pretty shitty basketball over the last 15, 20 years where some of the NBA finals were awful and some of the playoffs were bad and the NBA regular season is garbage and all those kind of things. Outside of these two teams, right? The Cavs, the Wolves at the end, like those teams were fun and exciting too. But I mean, a lot of stuff like the Wizards, the Sixers, garbage. Absolute garbage. The Pistons are a great story. You got the Hornets, they suck. The Pelicans suck. The Blazers were bad most of the year. The Kings, struggling in the play-in. The Warriors were bad until they got Jimmy. Like, the league's not perfect. There's a whole bunch of chicanery going on. I don't want the season to end because this is the best basketball we've seen all year. I want this to go 7 games. So I'm going to go with my mind, my logic, my reasoning tells me OKC. OKC wins game 5. And then to stay with that logically and with reason, it would make sense for the Pacers to then win game 6 back at Indy and then force the game 7. And then the game 7, anything goes. I have nothing for you guys. But if the Thunder win game 5, I feel very strongly the Pacers win game 6. Now, if I want to do the flip side, the emotion part, my heart, what I feel, right? Which I don't like feeling, right? I like thinking about it, right? I don't want to feel. But like my gut, my emotional side, I want the Pacers to win game 5. And I think they can because that's who they are. They're going to win in the situation where they're least likely to. It's the contrarian story. OKC's the favorite. OKC is supposed to win. The Pacers find a way to pull out the win. And then, if the Pacers win game 5, the possibility of them winning game 6, I think, is astronomically high. Because then the Thunder are the ones that have to be mentally tested. We're down 3-2. We're going to Indy. We can't do this. They're going to beat us. They got 2 chances, blah, blah. Like all that doubt starts to creep into the mind of the Thunder. Are they mentally tough enough? They're not proven. We don't know anything about them. I think the Pacers are proven. Like the way that they're winning, the way that they've dominated teams in the playoffs, the way that they've won games coming back down by double digits. But now the Thunder have that too, right? They came back from a 10-point deficit too, so they can have faith in that ability too. But if the Pacers win game 5, there's a real possibility they can win in game 6 and win the series. So that's why the logic, the reasoning about the Thunder, I'm going to go with that as my main story. Thunder win game 5, Pacers win game 6, and then we're in game 7, and I don't know who's going to win. I think it's less likely that if the Pacers win game 5, I think they win game 6. I don't think we see a game 7. I think it's like that. So I think mentally for the Pacers, they would love to win game 5. And I think that increases the probability of them taking home the finals in game 6. I don't have huge conviction on anything other than the first thing. Thunder win game 5, Pacers win game 6, and then we got 7-game series. I think that's the most logical outcome. That's the most likely. These teams going back and forth. You guys catching it? These teams are so closely matched up. That's what we have. It's amazing. And to hell with the ratings. I don't give a damn about the ratings. This is high-quality basketball. Let Adam Silver deal with the bullshit. Let the NBA deal with the ratings. That's their problem. It's their problem nobody's watching the finals, right? It's their problem that they're not promoting the game. It's their problem that they're still putting all of their efforts and time and resources into a 40-year-old former superstar and a 37-year-old, in Steph Curry and a 40-year-old in LeBron James. It's your fault nobody knows who SGA is. It's your fault nobody knows who Tyrese Halliburton. It's your fault, Adam Silver, NBA media. It's your fault. You guys deal with the BS. The NBA fans, the ones that love the sport and the game and basketball, we love this. I don't care what the casual thinks. That's their problem. I don't have a problem. This is beautiful basketball. I'm watching chess matches every night. Rick Carlisle, Mike Dagnall. I'm watching Improbable Heroes night in and night out. Last night it was Alex Caruso. J-Dub, SGA. Chet fighting through injuries. The game before it was TJ McConnell, right? And Tyrese Halliburton and those guys. And Benedict Mathurin. This is Obi Toppin. These are the stories. I don't care about all the other stuff. I don't care. I don't care where LeBron's going. I don't care where KD is going, trades and NBA coaching searches for the Knicks. I don't care about that bullshit. I cover it on my channel, but this is what it is. This is hoops. The real hoops lifers, the diehards for the game, this is it. Man, I want to thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with me. Shout out to Razor and Micah. To kind of wrap things up, he said the Pacers are in a bad spot. Razor said they do need to promote it more. I barely see any ads for the NBA Finals. It's crazy, right? Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with me tonight, guys. Really do appreciate it. I've got to run, but it was a great show. I really enjoyed discussing hoops with you guys, and the engagement in the live chat was a lot of fun. Do me a solid. Please do like and share this, and let people know about what we're doing here on this channel. And hopefully we could do a community stream after the next game. I'll provide the link. You guys can come on and talk hoops with me if you so choose. That'll be Monday night at 8:30 for the game. So stay tuned. I got more videos coming out. I'm going to do some game breakdowns, some film sessions. And I'm trying to create a lot of content here this summer. I'm off of work. I'm a teacher, so we got the summers off. And I'll be excited to make the content for you guys. But that's really it. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We'll see you guys soon on the next stream.